Hello. So it's been just about full months here on the land since the corn was removed. And let's see what's going on. Let's walk the road from bottom to top and get the update before I go away for 3 months to go work in somebody else's garden on the other side of the world and make some more money so I can come back here and focus more on this. So this is 12th week in the food forest, or 3 months on the food forest. So here, just pointing it out that half of the land is forest, like that, with this, what we call Thai ginger, dominating the ground, and cryptomerias, or Japanese redwood, dominating the canopy. There's 4 or 5 sycamores on the land. There's some different natives, there's some different invasives. There's a lot going on in that half hectare, and then the half hectare of open land is what I call the food forest, and this is the productive land that I'll be spending most of my time in, and this is mostly what the videos will be about. So here we are, the bottom bit of the land. Haven't had time to plant this out, but I at least put swales in, so all this land is not getting eroded. It's got good strong swales with a good basin. It'll catch any of the torrential rains that are frequently happening here in winter. There's a bed here and there of asparagus. And then here's a little a little end of the road. Not that a car will ever hardly go here, but a car could turn around, and here's this will be a little lawn area. And then I suppose all of the rest of the open land will be in production. There'll be a greenhouse just there. So, yet to be developed because it's not so erosive, this land. This is asparagus bed. They haven't popped out yet. More asparagus. The first bed of fava beans. There's purple broccoli. Just letting it go to seed to get a bunch of purple broccoli seeds. That's going to be a huge thing, purple broccoli. Now here begins the trees. There's strawberry guava, feijoa, citrus. But mostly down here the trees are the cold weather trees, rose relatives, plums, apples, a couple Asian apples, I think 5 persimmons. And so here begins as you see the road here in the middle on the highland, and all of the different stones, including all of this, what do you call it? Pumice, super light pumice, gets thrown onto the road, and then different kinds of clovers are on the road, mostly white Dutch clover on the road. So it'll generally be clover with bees, and a little bit of decoratives with roses in between the trees. But here begins the main kind of vegetable garden with these raised beds. As you see, I just dig in, and the beds end up being raised. So all of that, and then it undulates the paths to be able to catch water, so it doesn't just become a raging river. And that's working just fine. Here's the original. As you see, it's more green because the weeds have come in. The original bit of land that I developed while waiting for the corn guy to finish his job, which is very generous of me, and he he returned that favor by treachery and getting a lawyer and to try to extract money out of me. So I had to pay a little bit of money for a lawyer to kind of hit him on the nose with a newspaper, and now he's left me alone. But that's, I just wanted a good neighbor, and he decided to be a nasty neighbor. So I don't trust him, and that's too bad. He's on that land just above. And but whatever, I tried. I would do it again that way, being nice. So this is a fair bit of area of beds, mostly in asparagus. They'll get one more transplant for their final position. Like, this is all asparagus. It's a little bit more spaced out than that asparagus, full of weeds. But for 3 months, those, while I go away, those will still grow, but these will grow better. They've all got plenty of room. And they'll just have one more transplant before their final position. And I'll leave some of them in this bed, and a lot of the land will be in asparagus. It's like 5,000 asparagus plants, and they do take up some space. So there's the nursery. It'll just get bigger and bigger. Maybe it'll be 3 times that space, but always, pumping. Always different plants going out into the land, and different plants being spread around. And I've been using milk containers. They're really great. The milk containers, they're nice and deep and wide at the bottom. So that's the nursery, and then we get into the upper land. As you see, this is my style, ultimately, of having these nice deep paths, and that really catch the water, and then they fill up with water and demand that, they strongly suggest that the plants in the beds find that water deeper down. It's erosion control, but it also encourages the plants to find water deeper down, and it's ergonomic because you don't have to bend down so much. So there's garlic and onions and leeks and other things. And the main plant on the land, which will probably usually be the case at this time of year, are fava beans. I recommend them so much. If you have a place where it doesn't kill the favas in the winter, plant favas every single place that you can, that there's nothing else happening during the winter. Because when you come back in the springtime and you try to pull a clump of grass that's in with the favas, and if you know weeds, pulling a clump of grass is really difficult. And you'll understand, you'll have the understanding in your body of how easy or difficult it is to pull a clump of grass of that size in your soil. And then you'll try to pull it next to favas in the springtime, and you'll be astounded by how easily it pulls out. Favas are an incredible competitor. So if you have a climate that doesn't kill favas in the winter, even southern France in the Pyrenees, they didn't die. You would plant them in November. And the mainland Portugal too, and here certainly. So it's a great plant to have, and as you can see, fully half of the land just about is in favas, and I would put more, but I got to go away, so that's all there is. So this is my classic style. You see, with the torrential rains, sometimes there's a blowout. That's the second time that's blown out, but it'll get less and less because there'll be roots holding things together, etc. Just another view of the bamboo. I look forward to one day having it all shaved down to the ground, and then I want to do that every single year. I'd like to reduce the areas where it's, on the edges where it's just spreading, and I'm fighting it back here. And I want to cut it down every single year. And once I've used it all, for all kinds of supports, these are supports that'll last 5 years, whereas the kind of Iberica, that stuff, which it's in North America, and it's popular in Arizona and California. That is the local canes. I don't know if it's exactly botanically related to bamboo, but that only is good for like a year. And also if you sink it in the ground too soon, it'll sprout. It'll sprout from the joints. And then regular bamboo will not do that, and it'll last like 5 years. So I'll be doing videos about bamboo and how to use it, because there's some really great ideas. There's some bamboo structures. And this land will be full of different structures. There's kiwis and grapes, which I'm sure I'll begin with bamboo, and then I'll move to metal and cement probably down the line, more permanent. But bamboo will hold up for a little while, anyways. And so I'll begin cheaply. That's my style, is doing things quick and cheap, and then renovating them later. So here's a main garlic bed. They're pretty close together, but I'm not too concerned with garlic for production. I'm more concerned with having a ton of little garlics to plant next year. And coming up the road more, yeah, as I've shared in past videos, there's like 40 doves. Pigeons will come, and they're big. They're big pigeons. I've never seen such big pigeons as here. They'll come several times a day and just go nuts. And then like 60 sparrows and little birds will come. And then there's some native birds that aren't so they don't go in big bands like that. But rain bars for the road, which will all be in clover eventually, and then kind of decoratives along the edge of the road. Geraniums and roses a little further back. You know, the road might need to be used, and so these I put more ephemeral plants right next to it because they might have to get moved. But the roses are sufficiently far away in case some big vehicle comes for a big delivery. But I think I don't mind dumping stuff up there and then bringing it down, just to be able to have this road be smaller and take up less space and be prettier. And getting a vehicle back up the road, whether I've put the rain bars on it or not, could be quite damaging and stressful for the vehicle. There's some inclination here. So as you see, there's no erosion happening here. That is a lot of erosion control, those swales. And now the favas have come through. So next winter, when the torrential rains come, it's not going to be this challenge of oh no, more places have blown out and there's no roots holding the soil together. There will be a lot more structure to this soil. It was all just, corn was removed on November 1st, and I began right away, and it's been a real challenge to keep up with the torrential rains and with all new plantings and barely anything sinking roots into the ground. So here you see, this is basically the format. It's fava beans for the most part in swales. And where's a good place to show at the bottom of the big swales, I've planted taro. So here's an avocado tree. There's another avocado tree. This is recently planted, but this swale has taro at the bottom. They'll be flapping in the wind, and they'll have a presence. And all of the big swales will eventually have taro. Maybe I'll switch over to a bed system, something that's easier to harvest, but I suppose I'll keep it this way because they get a lot of water and they love it. They just drink it up, and I don't think it'll be that hard to harvest. And then I get to renovate the swale, the bottom of the swale from time to time as I harvest. So yeah, I love seeing this. This soil is not going to get washed away, and they're getting such good watering because the swale captures all of the all of the water. So there will be a big fat grape arbor here with 10 grapes. They're just sticks right now. But there's 10 grapes planted along there, and then this whole bed between this swale and that swale up there will be a big grape arbor, all covered. And I don't know what I'll do below, but until it's covered, I'll grow crops and do swales. Maybe I'll flatten it out later. As you see, it gets standing water. Hasn't rained for a day or so, but there's still standing water certain places. I do believe that'll go away next year as there's roots all over in the ground. There's hardly a root penetrating very deep in the entire place. This little lupin here, you see how the wind just beats things up in winter, but they're strong enough. This little lupin will be covering most of the ground that the fava's not in. And then you see the places where I haven't gotten around to. That's what it looks like. Grass is coming in, and little vestiges of the corn. Finding driftwood and marking the road. This is evening primrose will be a nice presence here. She guards space really well. There'll be a lot of physalis and ashwagandha. They hold space really well. See what I've done with the corn? Corn made it into piles, and see, there's a renegade patch of bamboo. It'll be interesting with the bamboo. I could spend tons of time and energy or not on the bamboo, but I do want to keep it restricted. Here's chocolate sapote, which is just gorgeous. I'm so happy to see them because I knew that they could handle like 10 degrees Celsius winters as we get here. Pitaya or dragon fruit, that's a super easy crop. It'll need support. In the top of this swale is not Jerusalem artichoke, but its friend. Oh gosh, it's a permaculture plant. I forget. Excuse me. There's a chestnut in the corner. This area here has got like 10 avocados and more avocados through here. So this top of the land will be an avocado forest to act as a windbreak and a privacy screen from the road. It's a strong, vigorous, fast-growing, large-growing tree, and they're basically free as I buy avocados and put them in the ground. So they've each got a very quick marking system, which is the corn stalks, the stronger corn stalks upside down, and then there's just coming out. Still hasn't popped anything out yet. I suppose in 3 months when I've returned, it'll be a half a meter tall. The fence will be higher, but this high enough for now. We'll have bougainvillea on it, and as you see, they were happy looking plants and they had lots of leaves, but the wind just whips them up, whips them around, but they're strong, they're fine, and it'll end up being quite a security fence with the bougainvillea, and then there'll be various rows of various windrows. One windrow right behind this scrappy junk that's next to the road. One windrow between that scrappy scrappy hedge and the fence of Japanese japonica, of Japanese tea. They don't call it that, but Camellia japonica, which I've gotten those from seeds. Don't know what color they'll be. So there'll be a windrow, 2 windrows probably of Camellia japonica. One there, and then one here. And then 2 windrows of Camellia sinensis in the middle of the land there. 2. And then probably 2 windrows of coffee at the bottom. 1, 2. To keep the wind, which just sweeps down this hill. It sweeps down like a wind tunnel. It comes from up above there, just whips right down, often from the south there. And need to guard against wind with several windbreaks, but they'll all be productive except for the Camellia japonica. And I'll keep them thin. So the sunset's over there. Maybe when it's permitted, I'll put a house up here closer to the road. But as you hear, down there at the bottom will be a more private place to live. But up here you get the ocean view and a better view of the sunset. There's a nice little hill right there. And that is month number 3 of the Food Forest Dream Project. Wish you all a lovely day, and take care.